We thought things between Mendeecees Yandy and Erica Mena couldn't get any messier, but then the internet exploded with something nobody was prepared for. Intimate videos purportedly showing Mendeecees and Erica together are now going viral online, and fans are going crazy. Is this the true reason Yandy ultimately filed for divorce following weeks of turmoil caused by rumors of Erica's pregnancy? The devastating DNA findings that proved Mendeecees is the father, and Yandy's mental collapse after the revelation. This most recent development has escalated the drama to unimaginable heights, and some are wondering if social media is in full meltdown mode, since Yandy already knew about these recordings and tapes, which were the last male in a marriage that was already in shambles. According to several followers, Yandy appeared too composed in her most recent public appearance, almost as though she had witnessed this treachery. In the meantime, Yandy remains completely silent. We're not claiming that the clips are authentic, but if they are, this changes everything. Stay with us as we unravel every complex, emotional, and stunning detail that has the entire reality TV industry on fire. The morning started out like any other day, with the sun rising over Atlanta and bathing the streets below in a warm glow. However, in the world of celebrity drama, serenity never lasts. The internet went crazy in a matter of hours after an anonymous Twitter account posted a brief, seemingly insignificant video. However, people with keen eyes were able to identify the man and woman in what appeared to be an opulent hotel room. They weren't merely conversing, they were whispering and touching. Intimately giggling, the man was clearly Mendeecees Harris, and the woman was Erica Mena. In a matter of minutes, the video went viral on Instagram stories, Facebook Reels, YouTube clips, and all other platforms. Fans turned like investigators, zooming into frames and comparing recent photographs and even matching furniture seen in previous posts. The voices, tattoos, rings, and even the way male DC smiled were indistinct to be true, but they left little space for doubt. Weren't just stunned, they were furious. Many of the people who had supported Yandy and Mendeecees during their time on reality TV felt that the betrayal was personal, and many of them were quick to defend her. Many of them recalled how she had maintained her composure as Mendeecees was away, how she raised their kids, ran the home, and protected his reputation during his legal issues. Watching everything fall apart over a scandalous video devastated hearts all around the nation, but she made no remark, denied anything, or provided any confirmation. Simply quiet. But behind the scenes, things were anything but. According to a close family friend, Yandy had been sent the videos anonymously 2 weeks earlier, and she reportedly watched them by herself in her bedroom behind a locked door while crying. The same source revealed that after seeing the video, Yandy didn't talk to Mendeecees for 3 days in a row and instead slept in the guest room. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was spiritual as well, shattering her sense of loyalty, trust, and years of shared dreams. She canceled the public appearance and then began taking discreet actions, contacting a lawyer, gathering bank data, and even changing the locks on her home office. This was the conduct of someone who wasn't trying to cause a conflict, was getting ready to leave when the video became viral. Yandy wasn't caught off guard. Instead of expressing her emotions, she remained offline. Her quiet was her biggest statement, letting the world make its own judgments as she concentrated on. In order to protect her children, her team immediately stepped up security at her house. News vans were parked across the street, and paparazzi were already gathered outside her driveway. But inside the atmosphere was one of solemn, focused determination. DC's, however, handled things differently. The very next night, he was seen laughing and drinking as if nothing had occurred, with no public regret or apology. Some claim it was his coping mechanism, while others think he just didn't care. In any case, the optics were awful, especially when combined with reports that he had been alerted to the leak days in advance. He ignored an anonymous message warning him that someone was coming for his marriage and to protect it while he could. He laughed it off, and in the meantime, Erica, Mena disappeared. She didn't post, didn't reply, and didn't acknowledge anything. But in a scandal like this, silence speaks louder than words, and the internet was merciless. People searched through old pictures in search of hints. Suddenly, a photo from months ago showing Erica and Mendy attending the same event, once thought to be a coincidence, became proof. Every look and hand gesture was examined, and then the afterwards, shocking screenshots of private dens purportedly belonging to Erica and her former assistant appeared online. In them, Erica acknowledged that she and the male venture capitalists had a moment of weakness while working on a project for a hidden brand. She stated that it was meant to be a one-time incident, but when the assistant asked Yandy if she knew Arab, her response was frightening. Now that the video has reached her, she feels awful, but it's too late. The messages were enough to cause the internet to crash again, started breaking down the time frame. Hour-long analyses were shown on gossip channels, and fans retrieved recordings. From hip-hop and love shows in which Yandy and Erica had side-eyed one another. Everything now made sense. The awkward energy and tension were never limited to television drama. During this media circus, a picture of Yandy and her kid leaving a family therapist's office surfaced. The boy appeared little, with his head down, and she clutched his hand, tightly. According to witnesses, she muttered, "You're safe, baby. Mommy's right here." The story was about a mother attempting to keep her children whole as the world watched her break apart, and it crushed the hearts of people everywhere. What made it even more confusing was that Infinity Yandy's adopted daughter had just gotten back in touch with her family after a difficult past. Now that things were getting better, party insiders say Yandy has already begun the process of obtaining full custody of both children, not out of resentment but for protection. Believes in the man she used to call her partner. According to one relative, Mendeecees has been attempting to contact Yandy since the leak, but she has blocked him on all platforms. He showed up at her office without warning but was turned away. He left the receptionist's handwritten letter apologizing for destroying everything Yandy hasn't read. She informed her staff that if he apologized, the video wouldn't have been made. However, not everyone is certain that this is the end. Some sources think Mendeecees will attempt to make amends because his reputation is at stake, not out of love. The brand deals with the all of it hinges on redemption, show contracts, public persona, but it's unclear if Yandy will give him that chance. What is obvious, though, is that she isn't waiting. For years, she stood up for her children, her peace and her future. Even though it was painful, Mendeecees played the role of a devoted wife and supported the family when no one else would. However, now that she is choosing herself, fans believed the drama couldn't be any more intense until a leaked phone conversation appeared amid all of this coverage. Yandy had spent years establishing her public persona as a loving wife, a hardworking mother, a faithful friend, and a strong woman who persevered through every adversity. Now that the world was witnessing her marriage disintegrate in real time, she made the decision to do something different. Rather than hiding behind well-written articles or press releases, she decided to confront it with action rather than words. According to people close to Yandy, she started secretly recording her thoughts on her phone late at night after putting her children to bed. She talked into her camera while sitting in the dark, without makeup or filters, just expressing her true feelings. She wasn't sure what she would do with the footage, but something told her that she might need it later, not just for herself, but also for other women who have experienced the same silent heartbreak. She talked about how betrayal feels like slow. In the meantime, Mendeecees was gradually realizing the severity of the situation. His public image was in flames, and fans who had once praised him for turning his life around were now swamping his comment sections with disgust. How the real pain isn't in the cheating but in the disrespect that follows, been in partnership negotiations abruptly stopped talking, and even some of his closest industry friends quietly withdrew. One by one, bridges burned, and he had no water to put them out. One of the most startling incidents occurred when male venture capitalists attempted to contact Yandy at a church function. Attended with her kids, he showed up unexpectedly in a suit with a bunch of flowers. Despite the cameras all around, Yandy didn't bat an eye. She wouldn't even talk to him in front of the crowd. Later that night, a video appeared that showed her passing him while holding her daughter's hand and not making eye contact. The message was loud, and it was obvious that she was done performing in public. She wanted accountability, not Beatrix. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get any worse, an audio recording of a conversation between Mendeecees and one of his close friends was leaked. In the call, he allegedly said, "I didn't think it'd blow up like the suggestion that this wasn't the first betrayal struck deeply, and many felt deceived themselves. Was the innocent love tale they had followed for years only a meticulously edited version of the story?" At home, Yandy was not only preparing for her upcoming move, but also safeguarding her legacy. She had multiple business endeavors and started making sure all legal documents were in her name alone. She also revised her will and she even started writing a personal memoir about the silent sacrifices women make for love after entering into a post-nuptial agreement with the assistance of her lawyer. According to someone in her publishing circle, the first few chapters were brutal, honest, and emotional. They weren't about retaliation. They were about the truth. On the other hand, Erica Maya temporarily reappeared in an ambiguous Instagram story with a black screen and white lettering. While everyone makes mistakes, some mistakes have repercussions. The story was removed within an hour, but screenshots quickly went viral. People started to question whether this was more than just an affair, or if there was a true emotional relationship or sentiments involved. The rumors grew worse when an insider revealed what they believed to be a confession. Apology, or simply an attempt to control the narrative, stated that male VCs had been meeting Erica in secret for more than 6 months. Their purported rendezvous were scheduled during business vacations and away shoots, and they occasionally met in hotels or at mutual friends' homes. If this is accurate, it was a complete double. During those months, Yandy had been planning a surprise anniversary gift for him. She had commissioned a custom painting of their family, which now sat in her closet unfinished. What hurt the most was realizing that friends had noticed a change in Yandy. She was no longer crying as much and wasn't asking why me. She had entered a new emotional gear, one of resolve and clarity. She started attending women's empowerment events more frequently, giving spontaneous speeches and revealing small details of her path without mentioning names, but everyone knew who she was referring to. Thousands of women were moved by her courage to share their own tales, and hashtags like Soccer Stamby with Andy went viral overnight. However, BC males weren't prepared to let go, and they privately pleaded for forgiveness through lengthy texts, voice, notes, and even letters. Promised therapeutic accountability, honesty, and tears. But Yandy had heard it all before. She needed more than just words. She needed evidence, so she set a boundary. If he really wanted to defend his family, he had to need to remain absolutely out of the spotlight. No parties, interviews, or photo opportunities, just silence and consistency. What transpired next were an odd few weeks of total quiet, during which Mendeecees disappeared from social media. No posts, no comments, even a narrative. His digital footprint was silent for the first time in years, leaving fans to debate endlessly about whether he was truly attempting to change or was simply hiding until the drama ended. Meanwhile, Erica received criticism from all sides of the internet. Old tweets were unearthed, and her previous controversies reappeared. Even her closest friends stopped openly defending her after she was portrayed as a serial homewrecker. She attempted to make a formal statement through her manager, but it was met with even more criticism. At this point, silence seemed to be the norm, like her only choice. Then, in an unexpected turn of events, a former friend of Mindy's released screenshots of private photos of text messages he exchanged with a third woman, someone who wasn't Yandy or Erica, in which he flirted, choked, and even alluded to going on a trip together. The timestamps were recent enough to verify that he continued to play risky games despite his failing marriage. The treachery wasn't only profound, it was multi-layered. According to a family, Yandy viewed those screenshots. However, she didn't scream or cry. Instead, she just stated, "He's not broken, he's rotten." At that point, she decided to call her lawyer. The story had reached a boiling point, and fans were glued to their screens waiting for the next update, the next twist, the next fallout. But Yandy started the formal separation process. It wasn't impulsive, it wasn't emotional, it was strategic. She wasn't just leaving a man, she was protecting her peace. Had fallen silent once more, but this time it was due to strength rather than suffering. She was taking one quiet step at a time to regain her voice. And while everyone waited for a final declaration, a public closure, or perhaps even a divorce announcement, rumors started to circulate regarding a far larger event that may rock the industry even more. Only Yandy knew about it, and she was going to make it public shortly. There would be no parties, social media posts, interviews, only quiet and acts as Yandy sought to determine whether Mendeecees could. It was a test, and for the first few weeks he appeared to pass. He avoided cameras, canceled club performances, and apparently began taking private lessons to restore trust in a private setting, apart from the theatrical world they had been locked in for years, counseling sessions. But despite his attempts to move past the scandal, people continued to whisper behind their backs, and the internet never forgot. Whenever Mendeecees was seen anywhere, there was conjecture about whether he was truly changing, or if this was just a show, as he attempted to prove himself. As she changed, Yandy concentrated on her own path, reconnecting with people she had previously distanced herself from amid the insanity of reality TV. She took her kids on trips, giving them new experiences and reminding herself of what was really important. For the first time in a long time, the world started to see a different Yandy, calm, confident, and glowing. And that scared Mendeecees more than anything. He realized she was learning to live without him, but just when it looked like the dust might finally settle, a new storm erupted. She wasn't operating from damage control. Instead, she was leading with peace. A gossip blog obtained a private email exchange between Mendeecees and a well-known event planner. In the emails, he described the entire cheating scandal as a publicity blunder and even offered strategies for using the publicity to build their respective brands. The tone of the emails was shockingly casual and contradictory. Yandy didn't shout or cry when she saw the texts. Instead, she sat quietly with her phone. The betrayal was more profound than ever before, and this time there was no dispute. He apologized for all he had been doing in public, and he was silent about his claimed culpability. Violent altercation, she just unplugged, stopped returning his texts and calls, and disregarded his letters and flowers. Her silence was more loud than any argument they had ever had. Mendeecees were terrified, and he arrived. He attempted to approach her through friends and family, but the doors had been locked emotionally, spiritually, and perhaps permanently. She had given him one last chance, and he turned it into another act. The media rapidly learned of this, and headlines conjectured about an official separation, rumors of divorce, custody disputes, and even secret court visits were rampant on gossip websites, and one particularly aggressive outlet claimed to have evidence that Yandy had filed for divorce. Paparazzi lingered outside their shared house, expecting to catch a moving truck or a tearful farewell. Sole custody. Despite the lack of confirmation, the public took it as fact, and fan pages sprung up. Some accused Mendeecees, while others questioned Yandy's coldness. The online battlefield was in turmoil, and as if things weren't already awful, this time, a woman came forward, not Erica, not the Atlanta scandal, claiming to have had a casual relationship with Mendeecees during the months he was allegedly working on his relationship with Yandy. She shared screenshots of flirtatious texts and images of presents he had sent. Even if Mendeecees' team called her a clout chaser, public opinion was already trending toward belief. The time frame didn't help him because it coincided too neatly with the purported recovery period. Yandy, who remained silent, responded in the most effective method through presence. She shared a 20-second video on Instagram of herself, writing at a park with her children playing in the background. There were no words or music, just calm. The video received 5 million views in a single day. Day after day, comments poured in. Fans praised her strength, grace, and refusal to participate in the circus. Women from all over the world started sharing their own stories, tagging Yandy and describing her as an inspiration. The network behind their show, desperate to the network, pledged complete creative autonomy in the hopes that it would become one of the highest-rated episodes ever of Mendeecees' show. To capitalize on the buzz, they provided a special and exclusive sit-down between Yandy and Mendeecees. It was a documentary-style video with no host or cuts, just the two of them discussing things on camera. He accepted right once, seeing it as an opportunity to make up with both Yandy and the public. He even began writing out his lines, envisioning how he might win back hearts and make headlines at the same time. However, Yandy wasn't interested, and she graciously declined. Decided to talk instead of seeking closure in front of cameras because she had already discovered healing off-screen. "Why would I reopen wounds just to feed a machine that lives off pain?" she asked a close friend. In her own manner, she planned a private women's healing event that was sold out in minutes. Women traveled from various locations to attend, and Yandy didn't disparage male VCs when she spoke that evening. Although the event was private, attendees wrote sincere posts about how her story had changed them, and just like that, Yandy's words resonated across social media in the days that followed. She talked about patterns, self-worth boundaries, and the strength it takes to walk away from what you once begged to keep. Became more than just a reality star. She became a symbol of silent strength. Brands started contacting her for collaborations, unrelated to drama, and she started a podcast about self-growth and healing. The same platforms that had previously profited from her heartbreak now wanted to honor her development. Meanwhile, Mendeecees. The drama that had kept him in the news had given way to quiet indifference, and fans who had once applauded his posts had stopped acknowledging them. Club bookings had dried up, interviews had been canceled, and even his attempts to switch to motivational speaking had fallen flat. Seeing Yandy succeed without him and forge a new life without his name attached to it was more painful for him than losing fame or money. But people were no longer buying it because he had burned the bridge too many times, and the once forgiving audience had finally stopped watching. The ultimate blow came quietly when a court clerk unintentionally revealed that Yandy had legally changed her last name back to her maiden name. Every happy moment they shared served as a reminder of what he had lost. Not just a wife, but a legacy they could have created together. The internet went crazy when she made a public announcement. There was no fanfare, just a quiet official step into her new life. But for those who had been watching, it was obvious that she wasn't just mending, she was moving on. And as she continued to rise, hosting seminars, starting new businesses, and coaching women behind the scenes as Mendeecees looked on. He made one final attempt to connect with them by sending an old family photo with the simple message, "I miss this." Because she had finally learnt to choose herself, he never received a response and knew he never would. At that point, the true story was about rebirth rather than betrayal. When she talked about betrayal, the room fell silent. When she recounted the pressure to always be the strong one, many in the crowd started crying. She didn't criticize menstruation. She didn't need to. Her experience and her honesty said volumes. She acknowledged that she didn't have all the answers, but she was at last asking the right questions. She didn't portray herself as a victim or a survivor, but rather as a woman who had finally made the decision to put herself first after years. of making sacrifices for others. She was rebuilding not only her life, but also her spirit. By the conclusion of the evening, it was evident that Yandy had entered a new stage of her life, one that wasn't focused on being Mendeecees' wife or a cast member of a reality program, but rather on Yandy as a woman mending. The audience praised both her strength and her vulnerability. Word of the event spread quickly, even without media coverage, and blogs included testimony from attendants. Secretly filmed footage from the event went viral, and Yandy was now more than just trending. She was growing and standing strong without the need for validation from the media or her past. Mendeecees watched all of this from a distance, celebrating as he saw the respect Yandy was gaining, and how people started discussing her as a thought leader and influential woman, rather than just as a reality TV personality. Instead of feeling proud or supportive, he became alarmed as he witnessed his own insignificance increasing as she rose to prominence. As she gained greater notoriety, more people started to wonder whether he was only a chapter in her story that she had now closed. In an effort to regain control, males resorted to social media, posting the teaser trailer for the upcoming YouTube documentary, The Other Side of Love, featured dramatic black and white shots of him staring into the distance, slow piano, music, and clips of old interviews. He claimed in the message that he was ready to speak his truth and promised to reveal what actually happened between him and Yandy, sewn together with phrases like, "You think you know, but you don't." The internet responded in a variety of ways, with some people being inquisitive and others being furious. Many accused him of transforming his errors into Mendeecees appeared to be caught in a never-ending cycle of pursuing attention, treating life like a show. The documentary dropped, and while it was racked with controversy, people started to notice the difference more clearly. Yandy's name was even used in the project's title, despite the fact that she had never consented to be involved. Reaction was lackluster. Rather than providing real insight or accountability, it came across as defensive and self-serving. He questioned the devotion of people around him, shifted the blame, and even implied that Yandy had been frigid long before the cheating one. Comment in particular sparked intense criticism on social media, with many accusing him of gaslighting and swaying the narrative. Prominent publications published opinion articles on emotional abuse and responsibility in partnerships. While Yandy's reputation suffered a further damage, she continued to flourish. She worked with the wellness brand to establish a mental health campaign targeted on women of color, and she was asked to speak on panels, podcasts, and even received a call from a university asking her to give a seminar on healing after public betrayal. Throughout all of these appearances, she never mentioned Mendeecees negatively. Instead, her power came from her peace. However, the story didn't end there. In a surprise that no one anticipated, Mendeecees were served with legal documents Yandy had. Although she didn't make the announcement in public, the documents were leaked, and the headlines said, "Yandy finally walks away. No more love, just peace. Mind bees left in the past." Her choice was praised online as courageous, and influencers and celebrities retweeted the article with messages of support. People viewed it as a cultural moment rather than just a breakup. Sign of taking back control. Mendeecees didn't react right away. Maybe he recognized for the first time that he had nothing else to say. No more posts, no more excuses, no more specialties. The door was shut, and Yandy was she wasn't punishing him when she closed it, but rather out of self-respect rather than rage. She was making her own decision, and by doing so, she encouraged hundreds of others to follow suit. Months went by, and gradually, as the clamor subsided, the paparazzi ceased pursuing Mendeecees, and the blobs moved on. He was now just a man as the spotlight faded and reality set in due to other controversies. Despite the echoes of his loss, he continued to adore Yandy, maybe even more. More than before, but he had damaged something that was irreparable. Realize that atonement isn't obtained by a documentary or a social media post, but rather via constant little transformation, and occasionally that is insufficient. As for Yandy, she kept growing, starting a foundation for young girls and growing her companies, and started writing a book that served as a guide rather than a tell-all. Restoring self-worth and boundaries, even if she didn't mention his name once in every line in the paper, seemed to be a reaction to the years of suffering and development she had gone through. She wasn't resentful, but was better, and she had given her suffering a purpose. She wrote in the book's last chapter, "Sometimes love is loud, messy and unforgettable, but when no one else understands how to show you love, maybe that's the best kind. That the kind of love that endures is one that is peaceful, stable, and unrestricted." With that, the tale did not conclude with a reunion or a tea comeback, but rather with a woman opting for peace, a guy confronting his reality, and the general public realizing that not all. For some stories to have impact, a happy conclusion is necessary, while for others, the intense drama between Erica and Mendeecees because of their leaked personal photos, Harris and Yandy Smith, have gone viral on the internet. Fans worldwide are left with videos of furious altercations and Yandy's surprising decision to file for divorce, pondering the true events that transpired behind closed doors. We have been following this tale intently, making connections between the pregnancy disclosures, confirmation of the dinner test, and these recent events that have everyone talking. But, in your opinion, is this the true reason Yandy left? Or is there another factor at play here? We would want to hear your thoughts and ideas on this complex tale that isn't being shown by the cameras or the headlines. Explosive saga. Are these leaked clips authentic in your opinion? Or could they be a part of a well-planned scheme to cause drama? What are your thoughts about Mendeecees and Erica's connection following? Given everything that has transpired, do you believe Yandy made the correct choice in filing for divorce? Or should she have attempted to resolve the issue? Your opinion counts, and we invite you to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Join the talk with other fans, and let's talk about the complexities of this developing reality T-drama. If you like this in-depth analysis of the drama involving Yandy and Mendeecees Erica, give this video a thumbs up, please. Your support enables us to provide you with more juicy news, exclusive updates, and insights from behind the scenes. Additionally, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and activate alerts. We have more surprising revelations regarding celebrity and fake news updates. You won't want to miss the drama that is headed your way. Thank you for watching, and keep in mind that this narrative is continuously developing. Await our upcoming video, which will provide you with the most recent information and perhaps even more surprises. Continue following us for your daily fix of drama and excitement, and don't forget to hit the like button. We appreciate hearing from you and reading all of your thoughts, so please subscribe and leave a comment below. What do you think? Believe that Mendeecees and Yandy are coming to an end? Or may a startling time will tell if reconciliation is imminent. But one thing is certain, we'll be here to provide you with every detail as it develops, because this tale is far from over.